Hey everyone, welcome back to Daily Devotions. Pastor Steve here, walking with you in Exodus chapter 16. They've come out of Egypt. They've come out of slavery. They've come out of oppression. They're going to always want to go back to it because of the confrontation and the uncomfortable way that God is going to shape them as a community. But we always have to remember, it's God who is shaping. And what does God want for us? God wants for his people what is best. Humanity always wants to go back to their comfort. Humanity wants to always go back to what they know. And so there's going to be this struggle, there's going to be this confrontation once again between what they know, what they're comfortable with what they're challenged with, and how they're going to grow, how they're going to endure. It just never fails. We look at it in history, but I'm also talking about our world today. Always a confrontation between our comfort and what we know, and the confrontation and the challenge and the endurance that God has us on as we walk by faith. Chapter 16 is very much real quickly after the Exodus, on the other side of the Red Sea, the great wonder of God. They were dead, but now they're alive. They've walked through in their baptisms through this Red Sea. They're singing loud that the God who they know has saved them. He is all-powerful, almighty. But then they're hangry. What is hangry? It's when you're hungry and you get angry. As they put that together, they're hangry Israelites. And when you're hungry, Snickers capitalized on this in their commercial, right? Being able to say, you're not yourself. When you're hungry and you want something, and it's all of a sudden your view gets so much about yourself rather than what has happened, what is going to happen. Chapter 16 is all about that. They're hungry. They think that there's not going to be provision. They get worried. They're challenged to endure in their hunger with the Lord's provision. Chapter 16 of Exodus. Verse 1, the whole Israelite community set out from Elim and came to the desert of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after they had come out of Egypt. So hear that again. On the 15th day of the second month as they came out of Egypt. Exactly 1 month. It's been a month, because it's been the 14th, 15th day of the Passover, right, in that first month. On the second month, on the 15th day, after they had come out of Egypt, in the desert, the whole community grumbled against Moses and Aaron. Why? Because their stomachs were grumbling. The Israelites said to them, if only we had died by the Lord's hand in Egypt. There we sat around pots of meat and ate all the food we wanted. But you have brought us out into this desert to starve this entire assembly to death. How quickly in that month we trust you, Moses. We obey you because of what we've seen and what you are doing because of the Lord's provision. They grumbled against, and it says, you brought us out here to die. We don't trust you. Then the Lord said to Moses, I will rain down bread from heaven for you. The people are to go out each day and gather enough for that day. In this way I will test them and see whether they will follow my instructions. He's always shaping his community. Will they obey? Do they honor my word? Do they hear how this will unfold? On the sixth day, verse 5, on the sixth day they are to prepare what they bring in, and that is to be twice as much as they gather on the other days. So Moses and Aaron said to all the Israelites, in the evening you will know that it was the Lord who brought you up out of Egypt. And in the morning you will see the glory of the Lord, because he has heard your grumbling against him. You're not grumbling against me. I love how Moses does this, because a lot of times we take it on too much. If you're in leadership within the church or within your leadership within your family, sometimes that grumbling, that complaining truly isn't about you. It's about the relationship with God. And Moses always puts it to that way. He says, in the morning you'll see the glory of God, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we that you should grumble against us? Moses also said, you will know that it was the Lord when he gives you meat to eat in the evening and all the bread you want in the morning, because he has heard your grumbling against him. Who are we? You are not grumbling against us, but against the Lord. Then Moses told Aaron, say to the entire Israelite community, Come before the Lord, for he has heard your grumbling." While Aaron was speaking to the whole Israelite community, they looked toward the desert, and there was the glory of the Lord appearing in the cloud. The Lord said to Moses, "I have heard the grumbling of the Israelites. Tell them, at twilight you will eat meat, and in the morning you will be filled with bread. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, because you so quickly forget all of the plagues that didn't touch you, Israel, all of the Exodus, that was the glory of the Lord, the power of God over these gods of Egypt. You saw the Egyptian army floating in the Red Sea, washing up on shore because of the power of God. But I'm going to then give you meat and bread to eat so that you will know, once again, because humanity has such a short memory, because it's about our contemporary situations that always fester us and always kind of pursue us. But here God's saying, I'm just going to continue to remind you day after day that I will provide, that I am God, and then you will know that I am the Lord your God. That evening, verse 13, that evening, quail came and covered the camp. And in the morning there was a layer of dew around the camp. When the dew was gone, thin flakes like frost on the ground appeared on the desert floor. When the Israelites saw it, they said to each other, "What is it?" In Hebrew, if you want to see, there's one word for what it is. It's called manna. Manna. What is it? For they did not know what it was. Moses said to them, "It is the bread the Lord has given you to eat. This is what the Lord has commanded. Each one is to gather as much as he needs." Not wants. He needs. "Take an omer for each person you have in your tent." Excuse me. Omer is a weight, right? An omer is a weight of food. And that's how they actually distributed food back then. And so they would weigh out. That's why when you see famines, a lot of times you see scales, because they would weigh out their food. So an omer is an amount of food. Obviously, you can take that from the context, but it's also this weight of this food that they've had throughout the scriptures here, or will have throughout the scriptures. Verse 17, the Israelites did as they were told. Some gathered much, some little. And when they measured it by the omer, he who gathered much did not have too much, and he who gathered little did not have too little. Each one gathered as much as he needed. Then Moses said to them, "No one is to keep any of it until morning." However, some of them paid no attention to Moses. They kept part of it until morning, but it was full of maggots and began to smell. So Moses was angry with them. "I will test them and see if they will listen." They didn't listen. Each morning everyone gathered as much as he needed, and when the sun grew hot, it melted away. On the sixth day they gathered twice as much, 2 omers for each person, and the leaders of the community came and reported this to Moses. He said to them, "This is what the Lord commanded. Tomorrow is to be a day of rest, a holy Sabbath to the Lord. So bake what you want to bake, and boil what you want to boil. Save whatever is left, and keep it until morning." So they saved it until morning, as Moses commanded, and it did not stink or get maggots in it. "Eat it today," Moses said, "because today is a Sabbath to the Lord. You will not find any of it on the ground today. 6 days you are to gather it, but on the 7th day, the Sabbath, there will not be any." Nevertheless, some of the people went out on the 7th day to gather it, but they found none. Then the Lord said to Moses, "How long will you refuse to keep my commands and my instructions? Bear in mind that the Lord has given you the Sabbath. That is why on the 6th day he gives you bread for 2 days. Everyone is to stay where he is on the 7th day. No one is to go out." So the people rested on the 7th day. The great thing, and we won't get into the big Sabbath talk, but the amazing thing about the Sabbath is it's a day of rest. All the way from creation, knowing that God's community would need that. He gives that to the Israelites. He's forming and shaping them to be able to actually take in what the Sabbath is, and it is rest in the provision of God. All the other days of being able to work and being able to go about work, but here is that day that God is going to provide humanity of what they need, and that is rest in him. Verse 31, the people of Israel called the bread manna. It was white like coriander seed and tasted like wafers made with honey. Moses said, "This is what the Lord has commanded. Take an omer of manna and keep it for the generations to come, so they can see the bread I gave you to eat in the desert when I brought you out of Egypt." So Moses said to Aaron, "Take a jar and put an omer of manna in it. Then place it before the Lord to be kept for the generations to come." As the Lord commanded Moses, Aaron put the manna in front of the testimony, which is the Ark of the Covenant, that it might be kept. The Israelites ate manna 40 years until they came to a land that was settled. They ate manna until they reached the border of Canaan. An omer is 1/10 of an ephah. Just so that you can know that well, right? Of being able to know you can get into a deeper study of an omer and an ephah, but there are those weights, there's those amounts, and being able to say, it wasn't just God providing for his people because they were hungry one time. It was him providing for the years to come. 40 years in their wanderings. Here is manna, as God has provided. Each morning, quail in the evening, being able to say, yep, grumble against God. Not because of their grumbling did he provide, but because of his good nature, his providing nature. He is the Father to this community, and he will provide what they need. What they need. Today, God has provided to you what you need. He's provided a Savior. He's given you grace. He's woken you up in mercy, and he's given you the opportunity to the breath of life. It's what we need this day. He'll probably even put food in front of you and being able to know that he always provides what we need. So have a blessed day celebrating that God has met your needs this day. Have a great day.